A generation of music, mixtapes, portable Walkmans, was nearly ruined by constant, irritating white noise. That annoying high-frequency hiss buried in every old tape cassette wasn't just noise, it was a fundamental roadblock to audio quality. We reveal how Ray Dolby took that single flaw, developed the secret technique necessary to banish it, and built an empire that defined audio standards from your boombox to the biggest Hollywood blockbusters. By the end, you'll know how the secret to his success was selling the recipe, not the cake. Before Ray Dolby fixed your consumer stereo, he was already an audio pioneer. Ray Dolby worked at Ampex in the 80s, where he was instrumental in developing the first commercial video tape recorder, VTR. He used that background when he founded Dolby Laboratories, initially based in Eat. This company, which is now mandatory for every major blockbuster, started on another continent. Dolby was founded to eliminate tape hiss. It sounds like constant static electricity, a nagging layer of white noise playing behind every analog recording. It is built into the physical process of recording sound onto magnetic particles. The first Dolby noise reduction system, Dolby A, was a professional broadband system demonstrated in 1984. It was designed not for home listeners, but for professional recording studios trying to clean up master tapes. Dolby A-type utilized independent frequency bands for compression and expansion, companding, treating the whole range of sound frequencies to make sure the masters were clean. The method they used was called companding, which involves compressing the dynamic range during recording and expanding it back during playback. It's a clever technique. Dolby works by squashing down the sound's loud parts while recording. Then, when you play it back, the system expands them back out. This squashing and stretching of the sound signal, like a rubber band, hides the tape hiss in between the music. But this complex system wasn't ready for your home stereo yet. The real challenge was the compact cassette tape. This small, slow tape format naturally produced a ton of distracting hiss. If you slowed the tape down, the inherent background noise became unbearable. Without intervention, high-fidelity audio on a cassette would have been impossible due to significant tape hiss. Dolby B, introduced for the consumer market, was instrumental in making high-fidelity audio practical on cassette tapes. This was essential for making the compact cassette sound decent. Unlike the complex professional Dolby A system, Dolby B made a critical simplification. Instead of messing with the whole range of sound, Dolby B functioned by boosting and cutting only the higher frequencies, using a sliding band principle above 5 kHz. This decision was brilliant, but the technology isn't perfect. If your gear is cheap, Dolby can actively make your music sound worse by introducing a specific, weird sound artifact. We'll show you what that artifact is and how it cost a competitor the market later. Dolby became a giant not by building cassette players or tape decks, but by using a radically different business model. This is the actual secret behind Dolby's control over the entire audio industry. Dolby Laboratories primarily utilizes a licensing-driven business model to monetize its technology, rather than manufacturing hardware directly. Instead, they sold the technology only as a blueprint and charged a licensing fee to every company that wanted to use the technology or display the switch. They were selling the recipe, not the cake. This licensing-driven model guaranteed them a fee from virtually every consumer audio device sold. By getting manufacturers like Pioneer, Sony, and Panasonic to pay a small fee per unit, Dolby ensured their technology became the required, invisible standard. Every time you see that iconic owl, you are seeing the legacy of this clever fee structure. If you like watching your body's wiring get exposed like this, stick around. We do this every week. Ray Dolby didn't just eliminate noise, he turned the absence of noise into a measurable, licensable standard. The ultimate payoff was migrating noise reduction to Hollywood, a move that permanently sealed Dolby's legacy. The move into cinema sound began with Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, which used Dolby A noise reduction for its soundtrack. This single film launch kicked off Dolby's multi-decade domination of movie theaters. But the real revolution came with Dolby Stereo, introduced commercially in 1975. This format became the standard by allowing control of complex movie sound, including effects, to be physically stored on the same track already printed on film. Dolby Stereo, introduced commercially in 1975, encoded 4 channels of sound into the 2 standard optical tracks on film prints. This technical trick is why you suddenly heard sounds coming from all directions in the theater. Dolby Stereo revolutionized cinema immersion, providing powerful surround effects without changing the physical film format. Ray Dolby was later recognized by the film industry, receiving an Academy Award for Scientific and Technical Achievement in 1985. The primary competitor to Dolby in consumer electronics was the DBX system. The DBX system employed a more aggressive, full bandwidth companding ratio. Technically, DBX was more powerful. But this aggressive approach introduced a fatal flaw. When the system fails, often due to cheap playback equipment or mistracking, it creates unwanted sound effects, known as sputtering, where the noise floor rises and falls due to mistracking. The DBX system was like a volume limiter that squashed all sound equally, making it sound unnaturally clean but prone to these weird artifacts. Dolby B, which was a specific audio cleaner that only targeted high-pitched dust, left the low tones untouched and was far less noticeable when it glitched. That key difference in sound quality meant DBX ceded the consumer market to Dolby. Before he fixed music, Ray Dolby worked at Ampex in the 50s, helping invent the videotape recorder. The man who defined modern cinema sound was already a pioneer in broadcast television decades earlier. Ray Dolby understood that sometimes the best upgrade is the absence of a defect. He turned an irritating physical flaw, the tape hiss, into a blueprint for an entire global audio authority. Every time a manufacturer pays a fee to display that symbol on a piece of gear, they are validating a business model built entirely on silencing the noise. If you liked this, how the floppy disk survived and refused to die, that's the next one.